Agus Anish, please welcome to the stage the host of the Dublin Literary Award ceremony, Rick O'Shea.
You are very kind. Welcome along this afternoon to the ceremony. Lord Mayor of Dublin, Deputy Chief Executive of Dublin City Council, ambassadors, councillors, distinguished guests here in the room, and those who are tuning in all over the world. We are delighted to present to you the 31st winner ceremony for the Dublin Literary Award. What better place to be than here in Merrion Square Park in the heart of Dublin City, surrounded on all sides by our rich literary history. Not only is the park one of the finest and most intact examples of Georgian urban design, but it's a stone's throw away from some of the most iconic literary locations in Ireland, like the childhood home of Oscar Wilde. For the 5th year, the award ceremony is hosted by the International Literature Festival Dublin, here in Merrion Square Park. It runs through to the 24th of May, and it's a real tribute to the ongoing literary legacy of Dublin, a proudly designated UNESCO City of Literature. We want to take a moment to welcome our online audience tuning in around the world for this special occasion. You're all very welcome. In a few moments, we'll be hearing from our keynote speaker, Anna Burns, and then Lord Mayor of Dublin, Councillor Ray McAdam, will be revealing this year's winner. But first, we would like to acknowledge the extraordinary work of this year's judges and the remarkable task that they undertook. From an initial field of 69 titles nominated by 80 libraries across 36 countries around the world, they first selected a long list of 20 outstanding books, narrowed that to a short list of 6, and finally to just 1, or perhaps 2, exceptional winners. I'm not revealing anything this early in the ceremony. Shortly, we will find out. The process demands intense dedication and discernment and generosity of spirit. We are deeply grateful for the care and thought that they have brought to it. Please join me in warmly thanking our esteemed judges who are here today in the front row. Now, before I welcome our keynote speaker and former winner of the Dublin Literary Award, Anna Burns, let's hear from our shortlisted authors this year as they share with you what libraries mean to them.
And it's like, for me, it's like internet without the garbage, you know? It's just nobody is clashing or anything, but everything is there, you know, you go there, you just grab a book or another book, or you discover a book you didn't expect to find there. So it is really an utopia, you know.
I think many of us learn the joy of reading through libraries. And librarians were there alongside with the booksellers from the very beginning of this book. I mean, even way before it was more widely noticed. And yeah, I know the debt I owe them.
The fact that a book in itself, we know these are our sources of knowledge, thought, history, but the library is the source of communal thought, knowledge, history, invention, imagination. And that's why libraries are so important.
I grew up in a very small town with just one library, and that library played an important role for me as a young reader. Only later did I have a chance to visit some large libraries. And I have to admit that I feel a certain envy towards to those who have such places in their city, the places where they can spend time, read or write.
Pour moi, les bibliothèques, et notamment les bibliothèques municipales, moi, je peux dire carrément qu'elles m'ont sauvé la vie. Parce que quand j'étais étudiante à Lyon, j'avais un tout petit appartement qui était très mal chauffé. Et j'allais à la bibliothèque pour avoir un peu de confort, au départ pour m'occuper, pour avoir chaud, pour être avec d'autres personnes, pour lutter contre la solitude. Et c'est là que j'ai vraiment découvert la littérature.
It was the Hartford Public Library that gave me this wealth of literature without a cost. Just being a citizen, giving you access to so much of the entire world canon at your fingertips.
And now, without further ado, to deliver this year's keynote speech, please welcome to the stage the winner of the 2020 Dublin Literary Award, Anna Burns.
Thank you, Rick. And hello to all my fellow book lovers. It's great to be with you here at this celebration of the Dublin Literary Award. Today I'd like to share a memory of an encounter I witnessed in my local library when I was a child in the 60s. It was an experience that had me puzzling, although not for very long, on just what might be involved in the writing of a book. It was a Saturday morning, and I was at the library as usual with my aunt. Everybody went to the library. Our entire district was always in it. On this day, our local disco bouncer came in. This man visited the library often, and he was known to all 10-year-olds as someone who would parade about the disco like some unhappy fascist dictator. But in the library, he transformed into an enthusiastic reader like everybody else. Always on entering, he'd give off a sense of ease, which he never displayed at the disco. Then he'd settle himself into his library chair for a read. This man read Tarzan books, always. I checked. I really did check. This day, while standing at the central desk with his stack of Tarzans, he proclaimed in a big voice that it was hard to believe, but did we readers know that your man Burroughs, the writer of Tarzan, hadn't ever been in a jungle, and that instead he used his imagination only to make his jungle up? Apparently, he didn't care whether or not it was like a real jungle, and according to this bouncer, it was not. Nobody else cared either, he cried. It didn't stop readers reading them. He seemed stunned by this writer using his imagination regardless of accuracy. Nobody else in the library, everybody else in stations was thrown completely out of their wits. I too jumped at this man's outburst. I was standing near to him, waiting to get my Enid Blyton stamped, and my aunt was next to me holding her Agatha Christie's. Although it seemed a sacrilege of library etiquette to have someone reverberating all over it, the librarians themselves just laughed. Uncharacteristically, they fell into chat with him, and between them, within a short space of time, they were coming out with loads of authors' names. Other adults came to join in, and they continued, all of them around the central desk, animated, gesticulating, even, it seemed at times, arguing. They were throwing out terms and expressions, none of which I can remember, but I do know they were delivered in loud voices and were entirely to do with writers and how, and even why, they got their books. I can only recall the word scaffolding, which completely bewildered me. None of their talk about writers made any sense to me. Firstly, the name of a writer was a signpost only to get me to what I wanted. It didn't hold any living significance in itself. As for using the imagination to make things up, what was hard to believe about that? It was clear to me that writers of stories were pretending, and sure, my friends and I did that all the time, playing out in the street. I pondered profoundly the way of writers and of adults getting excited about writers for about 2 seconds, and then they turned back into signposts, and I got my Enid Blyton stamped, and I forgot. 10 years later, something similar intruded regarding writers and their methods. It happened as I was walking home one night, reading a book. At one point, I was stopped in the street by the sheer power of a certain prose passage. It mesmerized me and enchanted me. Then it took a hold of me and pulled me into the book. I was tugged through the book, behind the book, and for a brief moment I found myself gazing upon the precision of its mechanism. I hadn't time to gasp or be startled or draw a breath or even think, why is this happening? Before I was shoved out to become the reader once again. But I was stunned. I was startled. Such a thing had never happened. I can't remember now what that novel was by that long ago author, But I do know I was left with an appreciation of the writer that I had never experienced before. I remember thinking, but how did he do that? How can he sustain it? Why, if one thing changes in the composition, it seems everything has to change, which could and probably would cause echoes and ripples and maybe ruptures through hundreds of pages. How can a writer cope with such constant upheaval, knowing that what he's doing or what it's doing may or may not again alter? What reserves a writer must have, what trust also, what respect for his own emotions. I must say, though, this didn't seem much like the imagination at play anymore. Either this was the imagination at extremely hard work, or it was unnerving play, such as you might come across sitting through a horror movie at the cinema. Whichever it was far better to be the reader. I was so glad I was the reader. If that was me doing the writing, I thought, I'm sure I'd go mad. Well, a couple of decades on from that, I did become a writer. I didn't consciously choose to do it. It started to happen. I didn't think either, is this a whole book? Am I writing a whole book? Instead, I was way into it before I realized what it was. To answer my own teenage questions as to a writer's process, though I can speak only for this writer, I'll say I have to hold my nerve to get my writerly thrills. This is especially so as I haven't a clue what's going to happen until it actually does happen. It's a waiting process for me, holding the nerve, having trust, being patient, opening my imagination for something maybe to come out of it. The imagination really is king. It simply has to be honoured. This means I don't harry it. I don't try to impose my reasoning mind on it. I keep rationality and logic entirely out of everything until after the imagination has given me what it wants. I try not to let my fears get in the way either. I do have fears, loads of them. They're very sneaky, and I've realised by now that I just have to take them along with me. They're especially insistent when change starts to happen. But change is always happening, art is always changing, and this is where scaffolding, that strange word that baffled me in relation to writing all those years ago, that's where that comes in. It comes down to health and safety, and I mean for me, the writer, rather than the book. I need measures to hold me up during all that waiting for writing, without clamouring, without desperation, and without giving up. Scaffolding is of many parts for me, and the most important is solitude, which brings me into stillness. Stillness is not emptiness. It's very far from emptiness. If I'm lucky, stillness will take me to a higher state of otherness. And once there, in some dimension that's not my usual dimension, the writing can take off. Any wooden quality, which is usually present at the start of my writing day, goes away then. And if I stay attuned and don't become a grabber or an excluder, the spontaneous and the unpredictable will start to appear. Getting to that inner place of attentiveness through seemingly doing nothing is what the hard part of writing, is what the hard part of writing is for me. So writing is work, and then it becomes play, and it's an occupation full of many surprises. It's also by far, in spite of its lack of guarantees or of any kind of job security, the best position that I've ever had. Before I end, I'd like to pay tribute to all the nominating libraries, public libraries around the world, and to the Dublin City Council, Dublin City Libraries, and Dublin UNESCO City of Literature for recognising that it's an achievement times a million for a writer to do what they do and to do it well. I congratulate all the nominees and the soon-to-be-announced winner. I know you all have your own ways of getting into your writing, but I've yet to meet a writer who wasn't dogged and resilient, often too in spite of challenges, which can, and I think often do, include lack of funds, lack of time, of space, and not least of affirmation. I am glad I came to understand decades before I myself became a writer that a person really, really does have to want to write in order to do just that. I thank you for listening, and I wish you all a brilliant day. Cheers.
And thank you to Anna Burns. Our international judging panel has had quite a challenging task selecting the winner from this year's shortlist of exceptional novels. Before we welcome the Lord Mayor of Dublin to the stage to announce this year's winner, let's remind ourselves of those 6 titles.
If we still find ourselves surprised when someone we know reacts immaturely, it is naive. There are no childish adults, just children who have reached an age where doubt becomes a source of shame.
Right now, strapped in next to me, she was pulling the arms and legs out of the doll she'd fished out of the ground in the back garden and shaking its torso so that the small bits of rubble that were rattling about inside it would fall out.
The only things we share with the city are the ambulances, being close enough to Hartford for them to come fetch us when we're near dead or rattling away on steel gurneys without next of kin.
A big red flower. A white angel with a flower on her chest. Does the red stain on my chest look like a flower to you? Nor to me.
C'était ma vengeance minuscule face au destin. Mettre des coups de pied dans la tôle d'une porte battante, des coups de cisaille dans une toile de jute crasseuse, casser des vitres en poussant des cris.
Particularly since the election of your new Supreme Pontiff, who, unlike his predecessors, seems little inclined to appreciate beauty, whether ancient or modern.
And now, to reveal this year's winner, please welcome the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Councillor Ray McAdam.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Rick, thank you very much for emceeing our event. Can I also just take this opportunity to sincerely thank Anna for her immensely inspiring words today. Anna, thank you so much indeed. And may I also take this brief moment to publicly thank our City Librarian, Mairead Owens. Mairead, thank you for your commitment to this award, but more importantly, thank you for your commitment to our city over many years. Mairead, thank you. It is my pleasure as Lord Mayor of Dublin to welcome you to this very special moment in the life of our city. This afternoon we gather not simply to present an award, we gather to honour a promise. The promise that words still matter, the promise that stories still move us, the promise that literature can cross borders, bridge cultures, challenge power, deepen empathy, and remind us that wherever we come from, whatever language we speak, whatever road has brought us here, we are bound together by the stories we tell and the stories we share. And there is no better city in which to make that promise than here in Dublin, because ours is a city of stories. Stories written in ink, stories spoken in song, stories carried in memory, stories told in the language of our streets, our libraries, our theatres, our schools, our bookshops, our homes, and indeed, our people. Ours is a city where literature is not locked away on a shelf. It lives, it breathes, it walks beside us. It is in the humour of a conversation, the rhythm of a sentence, the courage of a poem, the quiet refuge of a novel, the imagination of a child opening a book for the first time. The theme of my mayoralty is one of celebrating Dublin, and today we celebrate Dublin at its very best. We celebrate Dublin as a city of literature, a city of libraries. We celebrate Dublin as a city that knows books are not luxuries, but lifelines. We celebrate Dublin as a city that understands that when we open a book, we open a door. A door to another life, a door to another truth, a door to another way of seeing the world. And since 1996, the Dublin Literary Award has honoured excellence in world literature. It has championed novels written in English and novels translated into English. It has drawn its strength from public libraries across the world, and that matters so deeply, because this award is international in reach, but democratic in spirit. It's prestigious, but it's also public. It belongs not only to writers and publishers, not only to judges and critics, but to readers, communities, and libraries everywhere. And through Dublin City Council and our library service, our city stands at the heart of that work, because we stand for access, for imagination. We stand for the simple but powerful idea that literature belongs to everyone. To the young reader discovering their first great story, to the older reader returning to a book that once changed them, to the new Dubliner finding their place in our city, to the lifelong Dubliner seeing their own city, their own hopes, their own struggles reflected on the page. That is what libraries do. They open doors, they widen horizons. They say to every person in every community, your story matters too. So I want to thank the judges for their care, their commitment, and their wisdom in selecting the winner from a long list of 69 outstanding books. And I want to publicly thank libraries across the world that nominated works for this award and who continue to champion the power of reading. And I also want to thank our Dublin City libraries, whose works sit at the heart of this award and at the heart of civic life in our capital. And I want to thank every writer, every translator whose work has been part of this year's Dublin Literary Award. You remind us that fiction is not an escape from the world. At its best, fiction brings us closer to the world, closer to its beauty, its pain, its complexity, closer to one another. Dublin has been a UNESCO City of Literature since 2010, and we wear that title with pride. But we also must carry with it purpose, because being a city of literature is not just about celebrating the great names of the past. It is about championing the voices of today and inspiring the writers of tomorrow. It is about making sure that reading, writing, libraries, creativity, imagination remain at the centre of our shared civic life. So this afternoon, we celebrate the writer who looks at the world and asks us to look again. We celebrate the translator who carries one language into another and lets meaning travel. We celebrate the librarian who places the right book in the right hands at the right moment. We celebrate the reader who finds in the page of a novel a spark of recognition, a sense of belonging, a reason to hope. And above all, we celebrate Dublin, a city whose literary inheritance is known across the world, a city whose libraries serve every generation, a city whose imagination is not confined by geography, a city that has given stories to the world, and that today, once again, honours the stories of the world. And so, in that spirit, if I can find the envelope, and with pride in our city and gratitude to all who sustain this award, and with confidence in the enduring power of literature, I am delighted, on behalf of the City of Dublin, to announce that the winner of the 2026 Dublin Literary Award is Glyph by Ali Smith.
Ali Smith will now be presented with her prize and a cheque to the value of €100,000 by Dublin City Librarian Mairead Owens and Dublin City Council's Deputy Chief Executive Anthony Flynn. Before I invite Ali Smith to say a few words, we have a message from Dr. Agnes Virag of Katona Joseph Library of Bach in Kiskun County in Hungary, who nominated Glyph for the 2026 Dublin Literary Award.
Welcome to the Katona Joseph Library, and we are in a very special collection now. That's the local historical collection, and I'm on maternity leave now, so this is also a sort of testimony that the library is baby friendly. My brother.
Uncle.
Yeah. We are one of those libraries which is very human. If you look around, you can see the colors, you can see the materials, which are really homey. We would like to be a sort of meeting place for the people, for the community, which can also offer the space where people can meet and maybe build a community. As for the nomination, actually one member of their board, Nicolette Chanky, was the one who recommended, who nominated this book for the award. I think that Nicolette also enjoyed not only the literary part of the book, not only this fragmented, amazing language, to be honest, this lyrical, poetic language, but she could also enjoy the dystopian side of that, so that historical, economical, political, critical side. And basically this fact that the book is in the shortlist, a sort of confirmation for us.
What would your reaction be for it to be winning? Because I'm not saying...
Yeah, celebrate it. I personally would celebrate it among horses because I love them. And one of the protagonists here is a horse. Its name is Glyph. So I highly recommend to my colleagues all to celebrate it near to the stables somehow.
Please welcome the winner of the 2026 Dublin Literary Award, Ali Smith.
Oh, that was such a beautiful film. Can you hear me? I've got a wee speech. It doesn't take long. Thank you so much for everything. My mother was born in Limavady. I won't tell you exactly when, because although she's been in heaven for more than 30 years, she'd still be pretty angry at me letting you know her age. She was the 8th child in a family of 11, 9 of whom survived. She left the convent school in Coleraine that she'd won a scholarship to when she was 13 in the 1930s to go across to the Scottish Highlands to join a brother and a sister there so they could all work and send money home. Their father had died. So she got a job as a bus conductress and she tore tickets on the Murrayford, and she joined the WAF in the war and met our dad after it, and he was Northern English, and they brought up 5 of us in Inverness. She died in 1990. She died younger than I am now. One time when I met Kieran Carson, I told him about my mum, and he told me the name Limavady translates as leap of the dog. Thank you for giving me this award. I can't believe my luck. I feel like I am in mid-dog leap right now. Where's Anna Burns? Where are you, Anna? Oh, dogged. Dogged leap right now. Mid-air like I could take on any crevasse. I feel like my mum's here with us too, actually, Annie McGregor of Limavady, trying to make me cry like she did when I was wee by singing A Mother's Love's a Blessing. No matter where you're from. Here are my thank yous. Thank you, Dublin City Council, for your generous funding of this award. Thank you, Richard Shakespeare, the City Council's Chief Executive. Thank you, Mairead Owens, City Librarian. Thank you to the judges of this award, this year particularly. Thank you. Lord Mayor Ray McAdam, oh my God, what a speech. Thank you. I felt met by your 2 speeches. I was sitting back there thinking, I wish I was out there clapping. It was, thank you. Thanks to my publisher and my friend, Simon Prosser at Hamish Hamilton. You were trusting me, it's why this book got writ. I can't thank you enough. Thank you to the whole of Hamish Hamilton and Penguin, especially Anna Ridley and Laura Dermody, who look after me, and to Andrew Wiley and the Wiley Agency, and to Tracy Bohan, my dear friend there, and Sarah Wood, my beloved love. Nothing without you. Thank you, Dublin, City of Literature. Thank you, Ireland, Country of Literature. Scotland, Country of Literature. Thank you, libraries. Libraries all over the world, the soul and source of communal thought, shared knowledge and open imagination, and the soul and source of this award. A special thank you to the Katona Yosef Library in Ketchkamate, Bachkish-Kun County, Hungary, for nominating my novel in the first place. Imagine Hungary. And imagine Hungary right now. I tell you, that made me cry all right with happiness. I kind of regret that this year's winner it originates in English. I want to say what a crucial thing this award does in honouring literary translation. Myself, I think a book doesn't really exist till it's in translation, and what this award does in the world, and the world library it builds, makes this award exceptional. Thank you from the heart from me, and Anne McGregor, who went out of her way to teach us, her kids, to love books, trust books, and esteem books. I still can't believe I'm standing here, quite. Thank you.
You're all done. You can pop down. It has been our privilege to announce Glyph as the winner of this year's Dublin Literary Award. Congratulations once again to Ali Smith. Be sure to get your copy here at the festival's bookshop, on site, at your local library, wherever you are in the world, and enjoy this tremendous piece of literature. Thanks to everybody who joined us here in person and online as well. Ali Smith will be in conversation with Belinda McKeown tomorrow at 6 o'clock as part of the International Literature Festival Dublin for a more in-depth conversation around Glyph. You can visit ilfdublin.com to book your in-person ticket. The conversation will be streamed live via the Dublin Literary Award YouTube and Facebook account, so do tune in if you can't make it in person. I'm also going to be talking to Ali tonight after 7 o'clock on Arena on RTE Radio 1 as well. You're all welcome to stick around and enjoy the music and the refreshments. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.